Samsung's next Galaxy Note is just around the corner, and I've always had a soft spot for this particular series of smartphones, ever since I had my Note 4 from back in 2014. With that in mind, hey guys, my name is Ryan Thomas with Android Authority, and in today's episode of Redux, we're going to be taking a look back at the often overlooked Note 8, taking a closer look at its update support, hardware flaws, and viability over 20 months after its initial release. It's no secret that Samsung has been leading the smartphone design game for the past couple of years, and the Note 8 feels no more out of place than the Note 9 in today's crop of handsets. Bezels are still thin with this consistently small chin and forehead, along with sweeping and smooth glass curves and a metal rail. It lacks the famous punch hole that we see in the Galaxy S10 series, however, if you want the latest in OLED innovation, this isn't it. The screen holds up very nicely in 2019, with a great array of colours, excellent brightness and contrast, and a more than respectable resolution. The Snapdragon 835 or Exynos 8895 and 6GB of RAM still hold up okay in 2019. The 835 isn't the fastest example in this due to One UI's pretty heavy skin, and the speed isn't perfect. I've experienced a little bit of lag, some hangs, and actually a couple of forced kind of crash restarts, which definitely isn't amazing for a modern smartphone, but you've got to remember that this thing is a couple of years old now. The performance is probably the Note 8's biggest blunder, apart from its battery. You see, 3300 mAh isn't a big battery in any phone, especially one as big and as beastly as the Note 8. Battery life is poor, and there's no getting around that. Although we still have Quick Charge 2.0, which is good, and we also have wireless charging, which is very convenient. The pair of OIS-equipped 12-megapixel cameras on the back certainly seems pretty normal. One of those is a tele as opposed to a wide, like we see on the more recent S10e's dual setup, and by extension a trend that we're starting to see become more prevalent. The camera quality doesn't seem to have improved in updates, but what is staggering to me is how poor the dynamic range is compared to the latest phones. It really does show progression, if anything. It's not a bad camera setup by any means, and even the 8-megapixel selfie shooter is still capable of capturing a good image, but you are missing out on some great shooters just by going with the older Note 8. Pricing is pretty respectable in most markets, being around 300 Great British pounds, 300 US dollars, and around 25,000 rupees. These prices are for a base model in decent condition, and that puts it in the same kind of price range as a used OnePlus 6 or a brand new Pocophone F1. Samsung promised Note 8 owners an update to 8.0 Oreo, and it delivered on that promise in March of 2018. In fact, Samsung even pushed out 9.0 Pi to the device with its shiny new One UI skin. Pi was in a beta for about a month before it was released as an OTA update in around February of this year. Since it was the first phone since the infamous exploding Note 7, Samsung's main focus was promising that this one didn't blow up, being very careful about its battery. And thankfully we didn't get a repeat of that, so they kind of held up on their claims of it not blowing up, even if it was at the cost of having a very small battery. The most current and up-to-date version of the software on this phone is One UI 1.0, based on Android 9.0 Pi, and it runs okay. We still have a lot of the modern Samsung aesthetic, and it certainly feels more fresh than the Samsung Experience skin that was on this phone when it released. 9.0 is probably as far as we're going to go platform-wise, although I'm expecting some security updates over the next 1 to 2 years. But for those of you hoping for Android 10 on this phone, I don't think we're going to get it officially, maybe in third-party software. On the surface, the Note 8 seems like a decent used smartphone in 2019, with features like wireless charging, dual cameras, a fantastic screen, and a headphone port. But since you can get a used Note 9 for just around £100 or $100 more, it makes it really hard to recommend this. From the likely soon ending platform updates to poor battery life, to the fact that for the same money you can go and get a far more fleshed out device, I don't think I can really recommend the Note 8 in 2019, unfortunately. We'd like to hear your thoughts on the Note 8 in the comments below. Do you have a Note 8 and what's your experience with it? Are you looking to buy a used Note 8, or have you ditched it and gone with the Note 9, which is definitely a more fleshed out device? Anyway, that's about it from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you're new around here to never miss a video like this one. I've been Ryan Thomas with Android Authority, and I'll see you later. Peace.